First order of business is the public hearing. Applicant Hunter Fishgold, property owner HLF GOP, Chatham, New York, LLC, 15 Dartmouth Drive, Chatham, New York, tax map number 66.17-1-2.111. I'll start with any of the board members have anything to say.
I just need to recuse myself from this application.
You're accusing yourself, okay, good. Anything else?
In terms of the public hearing?
Yeah. Okay, having none of the board members have anything, does anybody from the public have anything to say? Do we have a motion to close the public hearing?
Make a motion.
Motion to close the public hearing? A second. Any discussion on said motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes. Now, old business application, same old application. Specific use permit approval is required for a club, health and fitness in the C zone, or C3 zone. Applicant seeks to put a baseball training center in the building. Any comments, questions, or whatever from the board members?
I have some.
Okay.
And some of it relates to some of the suggestions that the county planning board has made.
Okay.
So I have some questions I have asked the applicant. How many employees and customers could be within the building at any one time?
So it's going to be membership only and with no employees. So it'll be a key fob to get in, sign-ins, and all the electronics to be able to self-serve after you've been trained. As far as the amount of people that could be in, there's 3 cages, so it would be. Yeah, it's hard to say depending on, like, there might be a team there and there might be several people waiting, but that are using the facility at once would be
15 at the most, because of the team.
15 max up.
Yeah.
I just was curious.
No, that's a good question.
The next question I had is,
Oh, wait, Francis, hold on one second. But you do have bleachers there.
We'll have seating.
sitting area.
So you may have
Yeah.
audience.
Yeah.
Just parent, yeah, like a
If it was a
parent.
young team, the parents might stick around, but usually those teams are 10 to 12, so maybe 4 parents.
Typically, the seating would be for lessons. So if Scott was teaching a lesson, there might be, the parent would come with the child.
I know that when I've gone to my grandson's baseball, was it baseball? Yeah, baseball. This was up in Skodak. They had bleachers, and sometimes it was quite a few parents there, but sometimes it was a case of parents coming in when one group went out and another group came in, and so there was a bit of overlap.
Yeah, but pretty limited.
As you're mentioning, there are quite a bit of bleachers. So you say as far as no employees, but as far as members, people using the batting cage, and maybe like a parent with the
Yeah,
child helping.
correct.
15 would be a lot.
That'd be a high number, but
Okay. Plus maybe some observers.
Probably including.
I would probably say, yeah, 10 plus some observers, you know. Like,
Okay.
Yeah.
the older they get, the less they observe, the parents stick around.
Is there any area outside of and beyond the proposed entrance for this special use that you have any exclusive use over?
Is there any area outside? I'm not sure I understand that question.
Well, I went to Price Chopper today, and actually one other day earlier in the week, and drove around the access to Price Chopper that comes in the backside of the building. And I noticed that outside of where it appears the proposed entrance is going to be, there's currently a solid door there. That there was propane tanks and a grass area and dumpsters, and even a vehicle or 2 parked in there. One of the questions that the county brought up, which was a question that I had, was how do people safely get to the entrance? Because there's a lot of stuff there, okay? But it goes into another question, so I'll continue with the next question. In it, the new use is only accessible from the back side of the plaza, behind the Mavis Discount Tire. How are users, and I don't need employees anymore, because we know there's no employees, safely enter the building, and where will the people park?
So, I haven't had that issue. I've been parking back there when I've been looking at the building. There's probably about 15, 20 parking spots.
Spots on the back side there. They're already lined out
And then there's a whole additional area of parking
around the corner.
to the north of that.
Yeah.
And then the dumpsters are pretty much against the building. It's pretty clear access to the front door, to the door. All right.
Okay, I certainly did not get that feeling at all when I was there today.
Was the food truck back there and all
I'm
that?
gonna read this, okay?
Okay, all right,
I have a copy of the
let me read the response complaint, I don't understand why.
And maybe this will help. And I'm going to skip over some of the stuff, or paraphrase it. Pursuant to provisions of New York State General Health Municipal Law, and I don't need to mention all, please find Columbia County Planning Board recommendations concerning the request for the Gunther Fischbahn for a special use permit. The proposed action is to establish a club, health and fitness, for the baseball training center in the existing structure, Chatham Plaza. The site is located at 15 Dardis Drive in the village of Chatham, New York. Pursuant to, and we don't need to go over all the reviews, proposed actions for in the community or countywide considerations, and shall recommend approval, modifications, or disapproval of the proposed action, or grant that proposed action has no significant countywide or intercommunity impact. Upon recommendation of modification or disapproval, the referring body shall not act contrary to such recommendation except by the vote of a majority plus one of all the members. The county planning board may make informal comments to the referring body on the proposed action of any of the recommendations made. The recommendation from the county: find that this proposal action has no significant countywide or inter-community impact associated with it. Therefore, the village planning board may take final action with a simple majority vote. However, the final informal comments are offered for consideration, and here are the comments that the county makes. The Columbia County Agricultural District number 10. This project is located within 500 feet of a tax parcel which appears to contain active farmland with a certified agricultural district. Pursuant to New York State agricultural and market laws, any applications for a special use permit, such plan approval, use variance, or subdivision approval require municipal review and approval that would occur in property with the New York State Certified Agricultural District containing a farm operation or with boundaries where 500 feet of a farm operation located in a agricultural district shall include an agricultural data statement. The county planning board notes that the agricultural data statement is included with this submission. There is a there. 2, plaza site plan. The county planning board suggests that the applicant provide an updated site plan exhibiting the current site configuration, the tenants including this proposal use. 3, parking and pedestrian circulation. The county planning board suggests that the applicant provide information on the proposed pedestrian access route from the parking lot to the curb entrance, or club entrance. Show any existing or proposed marking spaces in the rear of the structure on this site plan.
And that's kind of going in, like I said, I've been there or driven by that back road a couple times. I counted at least 5 or 6 propane tanks. There's 2 large
There's a
1,000-gallon
yeah.
tanks in a grass area. Then there's what appears to be buried propane tanks, because there's tops for what look like buried ones.
It's a grease trap
Okay. There's,
and buried under the grass.
okay. Then there's some propane tanks along the back of where the karate place is. There's cars parked in there, there's dumpsters in there. My concern isn't the actual use, it's the safety and the parking associated with the use. I did notice the parking striped spots that are further down towards the NICEC end or the whiskey, the liquor store end.
Correct.
The first time I went through there, whoever plowed the snow never plowed those parking spaces clear, but they were evident when I went through recently. I never saw anybody parking in those spots. Anytime I've been by, the cars are parked right up next to the building. My concern is people knowing where to park, that don't end up parking back in behind those buildings, making it unsafe for people coming in and out of the building, whether it's the building with this use or any of the other uses that are there. And the aspect of them knowing where to park and knowing what pedestrians knowing how to get in there. One of my other questions was, how will the users of the facility know where it's located and its entrance and where to park? We had mentioned at the last meeting about whether it was going to be any signs or anything. It took me a while, looking at the site plan that was provided, to kind of understand just exactly what we were talking about.
Yeah.
But I figured it out. But I could see where, it's membership. Let me ask this question, with membership. If I wanted to join, and I knew the place was there because my friend went there, there's no way to join there? You have to, how would you go about?
You go online.
Online.
Yeah. So there will be a website that you'll be able to navigate to make when you can use the cages, your scheduling, as well as signing up to be a member, all the details about that on there.
And the person will then have the ability to know how to get into the building, where the building is, the access to it. That's my biggest concern with this thing, was the day that I was, today when I was there.
Yeah, I get it. I wouldn't want to put a retail store back there. But considering maybe we'll have up to 100 members or something, it's just for the community. So we're not like soliciting members from the greater region. And I think once you get there the first time, then you're good. So.
It'll be probably on the website, the
It'll be a
exact
locator,
way, park,
GPS.
see over there.
Well, have you given any thought to identifying like a crosswalk or path that leads to the entrance, and signs that indicate no parking, or parking for this use in that striped area you're talking about? Because again, the use, I understand exactly what the use is. I understand that it's not a retail type of store where people are coming in and out and in and out, but I'm concerned about the safety of the people using the facility, the safety of the people driving through the back of the facility, and the people using the other facilities. And I noticed that, there's trucks that make deliveries go in and out of it too, which is another aspect of whatever.
Well, in relation to that too is lighting. I don't know what kind of lighting is back there.
There is lighting.
There is lighting?
There's lighting over the door, and there's lights in the parking lot.
Yeah, the parking lot's pretty well lit.
Okay,
right
and what are the hours going to be?
now. I don't know, we've really,
Haven't gotten there yet, but since it's membership and you'll be able to go with a passcode, be
So
nighttime.
anybody can go at any time?
It's not 24
No.
hours, but
Not 24
maybe like 9 to 9 or something like that. A lot of these kids want to go.
Okay.
I have a question on those of what Francis was saying. Since we don't have like a floor plan or anything like that, we can't see. I have no way of knowing how many entrances, where the entrances are others.
No, we do with
Oh,
The entrance was identified on the
Okay.
updated,
Yeah, there's
oh,
one-
okay, I didn't see the updated.
and they provided an
Is there one
interior.
entrance?
There's only one entrance.
There's.
No, there's actually two.
There's an emergency exit on the back, but it has a
Right,
ramp.
right, right.
Okay.
It's a ramp,
Yes.
So there's an emergency exit that they can get out so they're not
and
entering
it has a ramp.
into the parking lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
So both ways would be handicap accessible if that were ever.
See, that was a thing when I looked at the site plan and went out there and looked. I couldn't for the life of me figure out what I was looking at in terms of the piece sticking out. And then I realized that those are actually the down ramps where the tractor trailers went in to unload from when Price Chopper was there. And I also had the same concern as Dan as to whether there was a secondary exit to get out. And I realized that, yes, there is a door there, and it is shown on this plan, and there is a ramp that takes you down. So it is handicapped accessible.
Yes.
Okay, so, yes, and the square footage, which was listed as 3,900, is pretty much what I calculated as the square footage. And like I said, in terms of Leslie's questions, it was nighttime when I went through, there were lights in the back there, there is a light over the door. Again, it's the confusion I find in that probably 40-foot area around that entrance that is just so full of stuff
Yeah.
that,
Well, whose stuff is that?
well, there's propane, I'm gonna guess,
It belongs to the other tenants.
Is
The
it
backside of that
belong to
has
tenants or is
doors.
That's what I was wondering. Is it belong to
It's all
tenants?
the rear doors to all the tenants on the front of the plaza. So
There's
they
the
have,
gnome,
That's
and then the,
karate, the smokers, the
Yeah.
smoking place.
so
Canvas.
the pizza place, the karate place, the smoke shop actually shares an exterior exit with the pizza place. And then there is what used to be Pyconic, the old Smoker's Choice, Chinese drink. They all have rear exit, emergency exits on the back. And so the employees sometimes park right there because it's right next to their back door. But I don't think that they're not counted as official parking spots
I know.
where the employees park for the other tenants. So I think, I'm not speaking for the planning board right now, but I just want to ask, they don't control, the tenants don't control what happens in that parking lot, it's up to the landlord. So
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
what would you like the landlord to do to make a pedestrian access, obvious?
more
Like,
visible.
what would you like the landlord to do to fix the problem you're describing in the back?
Well, I do think identifying some sort of striped hatched walkway that led to the entrance of the building.
So from that row of 20 parking spots along the back property line?
Well, that's pretty far away.
But that's the parking area that's closest.
Right, but I would assume, no, I'm asking, I would assume that parking was meant initially when the plaza was reviewed for the parking of the people that worked in those buildings who park back there and go through the back door. It may not function that way any longer, but, okay. If there could be signs put up in some of those parking spaces, is it parking for baseball training camp or whatever name this is going by, and a pathway that came out of the door, the entrance door, that maybe came out about 25 feet or so, that was crosswalk, like a crosswalk would be, so that people knew that this is where the entrance was.
And not to park there.
And be no parking there. I mean, I don't know if the building inspector can do anything in regards to the scattered dumpsters that are in there, or the propane tanks or vehicles that are parking there. I don't know about that. I just felt much more comfortable in terms of this use, thinking of the safety of the people coming in and out. Not so much the interior use. The interior use, I think, is fine in terms of the location and understanding what's being done. So, I mean, as a special use permit, we can attach conditions. I do recognize,
I mean, you could require that the part of the pavement be painted with cross-hatching or something if you feel that that's important to
I was
fix.
going to suggest a little cross-hatching in the front so it can't block that door.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
if you do that, you
it's
should.
all a landlord issue for,
But I mean, I would make that a condition.
yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying in terms of the fact that, in knowing from discussions with Jennifer, that the landlord is whatever in terms of this use.
Well, I think the landlord's impliedly part of this application
Right.
because it's their property. So
Right.
they,
Let me get the site plan.
I'm assuming that I asked if they had floor plan, and I see this stuck in the paper I didn't see before. This is the floor plan,
Yeah.
and I'm assuming that one of these small rooms over here is a bathroom.
Yeah, handicap accessible. So,
Because I'm assuming that
Yeah, right when you walk in, the first break to the right is the bed.
All right, let me just show you what I'm thinking here. Okay, this area here,
you can come up,
When you bring me up to your desk, I was in trouble. So.
this area here, there's propane tank, 2 large propane tanks in here, as Jennifer pointed out, some grease traps. There's concrete things to keep it from running into them. There's a dumpster or 2 over here. There's some over here. There's propane tanks against this building. A dumpster or 2 over here. There was a vehicle. So here's the entrance coming in. If there was a crosswalk that at least went like that, so it head you in the direction of where the parking was. Okay, I don't think it needs necessarily to go all the way across the road, but in the direction. And then where the parking is over here, which is identified on one site plan map, that the landlord put in, let's say 5 signs that say parking for, is there a name to this facility? Okay.
Yeah.
So you put the name on those signs, so that people, and then you, as the operator, indicate to people that there's parking that's identified by signs. If those spaces are full, that they can park in the other additional spaces that that they're not to park back in here, and that they need to exercise care when they're walking in and out of there. Okay.
I think it's all a good idea.
Like I
It's
said,
something cheap, fish, gold baseball things in there.
Yeah,
And
I get it.
I'm assuming, and I'm not really saying that it has to be just your parking, because of that, at the time. The only time I've ever seen anything parked back there is when a transit company was using it to store cars that they were, as they were shifting them around on their.
And the fair.
Actually, I don't remember, I never get to see.
One year I saw it, when I was walking, I saw it.
I never get to see back there during the fair, because I never get to.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, so I think those are excellent suggestions, and but they're, they're landlord.
I understand that, but you end up in a case of,
I agree.
I mean, you can, and this is, as a leasee of the space, I would think that you could put pressure on the landlord to say, my ability to lease this space is conditional on this. And I would assume that the comments we got from the county planning board would apply to anyone who's going to use that space. The same situation about having clearly marked crosshatched crosswalk that comes out, let's say 30 feet from the building and then takes an angle towards the parking lot for an additional 10 feet.
It'll be an issue for anybody that goes
Yeah.
into that space.
That's right.
So it's not exclusive to their use.
That's perfectly
Yeah,
correct.
It would be,
If you think about it, you look at the front side of the building, right? There are crosswalks coming out to the parking lot for that very reason.
That's a great idea.
So you just want in the back what they got in the front.
I don't think it'll be an issue.
Yeah. It's not that hard to put in.
No, so far, but the relationship to landlord's been fine, so I don't consider it an issue.
Anything else to report?
If you're gonna do that, you should specify on the map that's being filed what you're doing, so that everybody understands what, where it's going.
So then we're gonna find on that map.
Which
I'm assuming
This map's too small on this map.
I'm
So
assuming
this,
this is the map, this map.
This file is actually a really large file. When it's printed small, fit on this paper, but the actual map does have all the parking spots laid out, and a count of all the parking spots is listed on the map as well.
Yeah.
So if it's printed larger, you would see that detail. It's because it's shrunk so small, you can't see the parking
If
information.
you look at this particular map, you can actually see where it's marked off here on the back. And
The
Yeah,
one that's Exhibit 2
right,
right.
shows the parking
you
spaces.
too.
Yeah.
Okay, the other one does not. I mean, I guess,
It does if you print it full size, is what I'm saying.
I guess what I would, it's gonna be hard to show it on the map.
That we have.
That we have. But I guess what I would say is that you would have a crosswalk that was 5 feet wide, or 6 feet wide. A crosswalk similar in size to the crosswalks in front of the building, marked similarly, that extended at a right angle from the entrance out 30 feet, and then turned on an angle towards the marked parking spaces, additional 10 feet.
I would say either 30 feet or to the edge of the parking lot. Because if they want to go all the way out to the edge of the parking lot.
Okay, but that's better, to the edge of the parking lot. Okay.
30 feet or to the edge, whichever.
Well, no, 30 feet out, straight out the door, this way.
Yeah.
And then
Oh,
at an
okay.
angle this way towards the parking, which is here. Okay,
I was thinking straight across to the.
but the parking is way down at the other end. Okay, and that, a minimum of 5 of the parking spaces, existing parking spaces along the back, contain signage that says parking for whatever the official name you're gonna make for that business.
Anything else?
I mean,
Did
You're
we
just
didn't
just
quite
sketching it,
catch
doesn't
signage.
have to, the description is, but you gave sign, but I mean, there's something that just at least gives some visual indication what you're.
Yeah, I can do that.
I put it on
Okay, I can do that.
in red.
Do you want it to look like that?
Actually.
You said straight out and a right
Straight out
angle.
about 30 feet and from a right angle from the building.
Okay,
And then at a angle from the end of that 30 feet in a direction towards the parking lot,
oh, towards the parking, okay.
okay? An additional, to the road where the road
Yeah, I
goes.
know, I can see it.
Okay.
So, signage?
Signage, yeah,
We're only just door signage.
just door signage. Do you think you should have something around, if anyone parks along here, this is the end of the building, you want a sign, you think you should have a sign here directing them around to the,
I don't.
If it's membership only, and
They're gonna know what it is.
I mean, I was, when I first went out there, I thought, well, you're gonna have a sign on top of the building that says entrance to whatever, okay? Because I was thinking you're gonna end up having people who are gonna hear the place and drive around the back and come in, and there's gonna be an attendant in there who's gonna be able to fill out applications, whatever else. That's not what you're telling us. So you end up in a case that, yeah, I would think you would have something on that door. I'm assuming you're leaving the same solid door?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're gonna have something on the
Put a
door,
sign on it.
just like the karate place when I went there, actually had a sticker or something on the door, because I had the longest time trying to figure out where each building ended in terms of the
Some of
plaza.
them are shared, I believe.
Yes, and that's true. So, okay, I mean, if you're planning on putting some sort of sign on there like that, you can talk to Aaron about a sign, okay?
Yeah, we spoke about it.
Okay. So then, what I'll do on this one here
Yes, no flashing,
Is-
moving.
so it's a right angle from the building entrance. For at least 30 feet. And then angled towards existing parking. Existing parking lot. And crosswalk. Designed to mirror cross walks in front of plaza. that okay with you? Sound great? We'll just,
Yeah, I think it's pictures, or something we didn't see. So anybody, I mean, you're usually very meticulous about these things, so
I am. And I always say that it's for the board's protection, but it's also for your protection, because that way there's no confusion if someone says, well, why did you do this or do that? You can say, you can come back to us and you can say, well, you know, this was our discussions and, you know, that, whatever.
That's what those policemen ask do.
I agree with all your suggestions.
Okay.
Is this a picture of another unit, or is this,
No.
it's not your,
Just similar.
I was gonna look at it.
so to give us an idea what it's gonna look like?
Yeah, just so you can see, it's the general dimensions, 3 cages, 3 units. Ours will be a little bit tighter.
And I'm assuming on this one, it looks like there's something down here on this end that you don't have that. Those here, this would be where the pictures are, that's the end of it.
I think they're pitching from a shorter distance.
Oh.
I think that's a 70-foot cage with a
What is the
40-foot
length,
mount.
what's the length of each of those cages?
270s and a 60.
270s and 50?
And a 60.
60.
Yeah.
60
Yeah, it's 60 where you come in, so we have a space to trim.
And I'm assuming you're talking feet, not meters, not yards.
Good old American feet.
Which comes from, it came to England.
I don't have any more questions.
All righty.
I'll prepare to make a motion.
Any more questions?
Nope, not here.
You make it, get ready
Okay.
to make a motion?
I'll make a motion then. I just want to make sure I feel in the truth. Okay. Motion. The Village of Chatham Planning Board approves of application 2025-151. 151. Tax map number 66.17-1-2.111 at 15 Dardis Drive, Chatham, New York. This approval is for a special use permit for a club, health and fitness, in the C3 zone. The approval is based on the following. Application for building use permit dated 11/14/25, signed by Gunther Fishbowl. 2. Special use permit application dated 11/13/25, signed by Gunther Fishbowl. 3. Letter of authorization form, property owner, dated November 10th, 2025, signed by Deborah, I could not read the middle initial, I don't know if it's a K or a J or a T, Hanson, manager, on 11/13/2025. Number 4, the narrative and nature of the proposed use and operation letter labeled baseball training facility from Gunther Fishgold, and the photo of what the facility will look like. An example of the photo of what the facility will look like. Number 5, the agricultural data statement dated 11/25/25 and dated 11/28/25. Second similar sheet containing signature of Aaron Reese. The drawings A1 and A2 labeled batting cages dated 10/1/25 and 11/12/25, and the drawing labeled overall site plan dated 07/02/2019, and the drawing labeled Exhibit B2 Shopping Center Site Plan. Now, the short environmental assessment form, do we have to determine this as a type 2? I'm looking back.
It would be, there's no new construction here.
Yeah, there is not. Okay, the short environmental
It's just reuse of it.
assessment form signed by Gunther Fishgold dated 11/14/2025. This is a type 2.
We'll be more specific than that. if you want.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was kind of looking for you.
Is that it?
No, I'm waiting for him to give us the rest of the information also. Sure. Environmental assessment form, and then I gotta mention the whole planning board letter. And then I gotta get the 2 special
We
conditions.
did close the public hearing.
Yes, we did. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm the same way.
It's embarrassing when you pass the approval and find that you haven't closed the public hearings and vote against.
Reuse of a residential or commercial structure, or a structure containing mixed residential and commercial uses where the use is permitted under zoning code, and it doesn't meet or exceed any of the standards of section 617.4, which is a type 1, which it doesn't. So it's just a basic reuse of an existing commercial structure. It's paragraph 18.
Okay, so the short environmental assessment form signed by Gunther Fishgold dated 11/14/25. The board has determined that this is a type 2 as it is a reuse of a
Commercial structure.
commercial structure.
And doesn't meet it, and, yeah, I mean, that's sufficient. It's
The
not-
letter from Columbia County Planning Board signed by Timothy Stalker, Planning Board Chairperson, dated 16 December 2025, and the following special conditions. The applicant/owner shall be responsible, and I hope you're writing this down, because I'm a little different, right? Yep. The applicant/property owner shall be responsible to install at a right angle from the building entrance for at least 30 feet, an angle then towards the parking row, a crosswalk. The crosswalk design is to mirror the crosswalks used in front of the plaza, the existing crosswalk, as similar to the existing crosswalks that exist. And number 2, a minimum of 5 signs shall be installed in the parking area in the back of the building where the existing parking spaces are that indicate use by this facility, its name to appear on the signs.
Is that it?
That's it.
Do you have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second. Any discussion on the motion? Yes?
If it's the landlord's responsibility to put up the signs on the 5 parking spots, the landlord might not want to put up a sign with this particular business's name on it. So I wonder if that could either be less specific, or a suggestion to put it up for the address or something. Those parking signs with the address on it, so that if this business changes to a different business, I don't have to change the signs.
What you're saying, I'm thinking that with the crosswalk there, we really don't need the signs.
Well, my only concern is that you're going to find people parking any place as close to the entrance as they can, which is what you kind of see with, see right now, is that when you go there, you'll see the other businesses are parking cars there, and if I'm coming to the place, human nature is to park as close to the entrance door, even though you're going for exercise, you still want to park as close to that. In terms of what you're saying, there's probably 12 or more parking spaces along that side. We wouldn't be requesting that they all be marked with that name, and yes, I understand what you're saying, but if it changes, well, then you can take the sign and maybe just cover up the existing name with another name.
Because I'm looking at it, that the businesses in the front don't have that same setup.
Yeah, but that's because there's no problem, because there's
And
all these.
as I said, I don't really think there's gonna be a problem parking in the back, because, as you said, we've never seen anybody park there, except for that one time that I saw somebody there who was using it overnight for.
When you put that crosswalk in, you can't park on a crosswalk, right? So, I mean, you're basically like eliminating that
Taking that
30
wire
feet
line.
of space away from, you can't park there because it's now a crosswalk.
What if you just put on the signs, parking for customers?
Or members.
Well,
Or
I
parking
mean,
for members?
but then you know, then an employee from one of the other tenants can't park there?
You two have thought about this business quite a bit. What do you think about this that we're discussing?
I mean, for sure, I would love to have signs labeled for the business, but that's not really, I can't speak to that. I'm not the landlord. Whether the landlord would do that or wouldn't do that. But I think it's,
And if there were,
I
you guys have to
don't
do this.
disagree. I mean, that would be awesome. I just don't know if that's
I would,
what the landlord wants.
I would like the wording again to say recommended.
I mean, I'm happy to ask.
I would just put it in there.
Yeah, I mean,
Leave
I
the condition
think, I
as
think
is.
if you put it in there, the landlord will, if they really, they'll be
comply.
surprised if they didn't do it.
And then
I'm not
again,
gonna- I'm
if
not-
the customer sees the space with the name of the place, that they'll know that's where they're supposed to park. Otherwise,
I think Will speaks to a good point. However, I think there's enough spots and they're so unused that I don't think anybody, I don't think it would be, I think they're both good points, but since they're not used already,
Would you accept it as a friendly amendment to say recommended that those?
no, because I'm really concerned
Because
with,
I do disagree with that.
I'd rather it said recommended.
If it said recommended, that's a different story, because the parking out front doesn't have specific spots for each one of the, and if I was the person who owned that building, I would say, why should this one have special parking and the ones out front not?
well, specifically because of the way, there's no parking. The
Especially,
entrances for the buildings are in the front.
right, I mean, there never was any concept of having parking behind the back of the building, because there was never technically any entrances for any businesses in the back of the building. Now, for the first time, which I think makes great use of that space, we now have a business which is orientated 180 degrees different from the rest of the plaza. So, I mean, if some other space was divided and now there was another business back there, well, you end up having parking from them. The time may come, if in fact more uses were developed that way, you might change the fact of the
So I
signs.
think the original, that back was never originally intended to
No.
be used like we're using it. So I think that does make sense to have, it is an unusual spot, but if whatever you guys feel is appropriate, I'm fine with, personally fine with whatever you do. I think the landlord will comply because they were a good tenant and they pay rent and.
I think that the language in the motion should just be generalized to say designated parking spots with signs. And not require that they have any particular text on them.
Well, the parking spaces are already designated there. They're already striped. You end up in a case that,
Designated for this business.
Well, I guess the question, to me, the question is the purpose of designating them. The valid reason for designating them from the planning board's perspective is safety, not priority because it's convenient. It's safety. And so if the need is to make sure that they don't park one place or they do park another one so they have a safe route into the building, then that's something that could be imposed as a condition. It's not something, and that's the only reason that it would be warranted, I think.
Right,
In
it's the
that
same.
case, the crosswalk does it. And
Yes, I
We don't need you guys can do that, but
We
we don't
would
say
say-
anything about signs.
We would personally enforce, so if that's our spot and there's people illegally parking back there, which I think there are, they can park in those spots instead of parking right behind there. There should be a no parking sign in that area, and then people know to park. That's what's going on. People are just parking close to the building. It's same what you
Right,
said.
yeah, I don't think.
So I think
any
that's,
of those are
once we
spots.
take once we have the spot, we're gonna let the landlord know that these people are inappropriately parked, and they'll park in the spots, because there's spots.
So maybe,
It's not
in
many
terms of what you're
spots.
saying, Will, and what you're saying again, maybe instead of identifying on those 10 spaces the name of the baseball training facility, the owner of the building install parking signs in that area where the entrance is that say no parking.
Sure.
Then you end up in a case that any of the scenarios in terms of who's parking there is no parking.
I mean, yeah.
I
can't speak to how to-
No
I don't
parking,
think
that means
we
their customers can't park there either.
No, but
In front of the building.
You're talking about like along the crosswalk that you're putting in?
No.
And along the back.
Yeah, like,
I'm talking,
you want no parking along the back of the building.
yeah, just the back of
So
the...
it's just dumpsters back there.
Right,
Yeah,
so you don't have a case of...
And that might already be, I mean, I have to talk to the landlord because it could already be like buried in the 45-page lease that they have that already says that you can't park there, you know, that it's just not enforced, but,
And I think you'll probably find the reason that those parking spots are designated in the back is because in the original approval of that mall, it was approved that there was to be no parking right up next to the building.
Right, well, it makes sense that
Yeah, it makes sense.
if you went to the back of the building, if you were entering through the back of the building, that you would park in one of those spots.
right.
They're just parking out of convenience, that's all.
Yeah.
So that's really the issue, it's not so much the layout of the spots as much as they shouldn't be parking there. Which I think will get cleaned up once we're there, because it's not.
All right, I mean, I'm willing to eliminate the aspect of signs being installed along the parking spaces, that the row of parking spaces that are on the west side of the back of the property.
And I think you're gonna find that with the crosswalk
Yeah.
being indicated, it's gonna say, okay, we can't park in this, it's like, you can't park in the front of the building right next to the store and run in.
Yeah, you
park
can't
out the
block
parking
the
lot.
crosswalk.
Yeah, well, safety is an issue now, it wasn't an issue previous to us
Right.
Well,
moving in there, so safety could be an issue, and so I think it speaks.
To me, personally, actually, any of the cars parking there, even if you weren't there, it's a safety issue because I know where I'm gonna be parking my fire truck.
I mean, the other thing is,
Well,
Yeah, that's right.
is there a fire
I was
lane
up
back
on the
there?
roof.
Is there a fire lane?
I didn't see
I'm
one.
not sure,
Well,
Yeah,
there's plenty of, there's so much room back there.
yeah.
there's a lot of space.
I mean, the other thing which, based on our discussion, and I really appreciate the fact you recognize the concern about safety, is that you could, in your emails to people or contact with them,
Yes.
mention to them, there's no parking near the entrance, there's a parking area down here, and use that.
Then we can police it.
Right, because you end up in a case that it's your customers and the employees of the other businesses that we don't want to get injured or hurt as a result of our not addressing safety on this.
I would be more concerned with the people who are coming from Price Chopper and shooting across the back of there to go to Dodge Street to get out.
Yeah.
There was one car that went through pretty fast when I was there, but there was only one car and, anyway,
Which is one of the reasons
You weren't
why,
there when I was done shopping.
I'm sorry.
I guess you weren't there when I was done shopping.
Maybe that was you that went by. Okay, so I in agreement to remove that third bullet about the signs being installed, minimum five signs.
okay. Anything else from the board member?
I'm not familiar, but like, there's a decent visibility, like if you're coming out of the building, if you're coming out of their facility, and going to your car where you want to park, you're not coming out from the back corner or anything like that.
No.
No, it's
What
like
you-
wide
No,
open.
there's a lot
What
of-
you'd be doing-
Wide open space.
Wide open.
Here's the entrance you'd be coming out. You come across on the thing, this is the travel lane through here, and then starting back here, going in this direction, there's parking spaces, which, as Jennifer mentioned, you can see on this site plan.
Okay,
You see the site?
yeah,
Okay, so we're down here,
okay,
and you're gonna come out with an angle
okay.
towards that.
So you're crossing a travel lane, but there's lots of.
Yes, and
There's a lot of
There's-
space.
there's a lot of
So
visibility.
Yes.
That's like to the front of the.
Couple hundred yards.
Across the front
Right.
lawn, yeah, there's plenty of visibility.
plenty of visibility.
Anything else from the board members? Hearing nothing else, are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passes. Even if he was here. Okay.
I wasn't your worst student in class.
I did have that.
Congratulations
Oh, thank
on getting into the New York State.
Yeah, that's.
That was something I can't remember the name of it was, but
Thank you.
And I told everybody,
Where are your questions? You've done them?
I've done it.
Oh,
Yeah. 7 weeks ahead of schedule, so.
That's what Shannon said.
Yeah,
Wow,
I put some work in at home.
good for you.
Yeah. So I just have a little brace on my ankle, I limp a little right now, but 3 more weeks I should be back to job shot.
And teaching baseball, huh?
I'm already doing that. I have a little chair with wheels on it.
You do what you have to do, right?
That's right. I have kids that love this, so I'm just turn it down.
All right, well,
All right, thank you. Have a great holiday.
Good job, and have a good holiday.
all right, continuing on, any other old business, no other old business? New business, I have nothing in front of me as far as new business. Okay, opinion of the planning board for new applications for the zoning board, I have nothing of that. Approval of minutes for November 24th, 2025.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from November 24th.
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Unanimously passes.
I abstained because I wasn't there.
Okay. Meeting's adjourned.